Hi everybody, it's time for our lunch break musings. Um, I was watching a program earlier this morning, and I think it was Tennessee Brando, um, and several topics that were brought up that they discussed really struck me. Um, they were, of course, an airplane goes over my head, or actually, excuse me, that was a helicopter. Um, so what they were talking about was the fact that Ukraine has just signed a 10-year military pact with France for France to supply them with planes, ammunition, any other kind of weaponry that they may need in their battle to protect their country from Russia. And then on top of that, Sweden and the King and Queen of Sweden made a personal appearance for this. They had gone to Canada and they signed a deal with Canada for goods and services, um, the open trade between the two countries. And when Sweden asked why they went to Canada for that, they simply stated because the U.S. can no longer be trusted to honor their word or their contracts. And that says a lot, y'all. I mean, when you're being told that, well, we can't trust you on your word, we can't trust you uh, on the contracts that you've signed. Your current leadership has proven themselves to be untrustworthy. I was like, wow, that kind of, that's very direct and in our face. Um, and then again, I thought, well, who the hell can blame them? You know? Um, And then the last point that really jumped out of me from this, it was like a little 15-minute video, and it was the president of France, Macron. Uh, he told um, Zelensky, and they were in a press briefing, that as far as France and the rest of the EU was concerned, they considered Ukraine to be a part of the EU, one with them, a part of NATO. Even though it's not official yet, they are already looking at Ukraine as such. That speaks volumes. Okay, so then I went into the reading with what does all of this mean? What does it mean for us? What does it mean for our relationships with other countries? What does it mean concerning this administration? And the first thing I got was the Three of Cups. Now, usually Three of Cups is, celebrations, happy times. It can also be talking about a reunion with friends. And so I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, that could be telling us that once we get past this, the U.S. will be able to have that reunion with our friends, with our allies, and work things out. Um, so that's how I'm seeing that. And then I got the Six of Swords, which talks about moving on, getting rid of negative situations around you. And again, that kind of follows suit with the Three of Cups there, that we're talking about once we get this regime out, um, we're going to be able to move on as a country, as a people, to shake off the negativity and just move forward. And then I got the Six of Coins, which talks about wanting to be generous but being discriminating. I think we got that card yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And again, that fits. Uh, Once we kind of shake everything off, we're going to want to be generous to everybody to try to get back in the good graces of the world and with the American people. But we're going to have to be discriminating because we're not going to have the abilities to repair everything all at once. It's going to take time, and it's going to have to be prioritized, and it won't be as much as we would want to do that because we're not going to have the money for it. So that's when it's going to be really important for the American people to continue to stand by the new government that comes in once midterms hits, and then the presidential election 2 years after that. It really feels like what we're seeing is we're going to be we're going to want to be generous with everybody and with our own people, but we're going to have to prioritize. We're going to have to be discriminating and move from those most in need and then outward from there. And then I got the Ace of Wands. Whoa, there it went. Dropping cards everywhere. Okay, now, does it show it on here? Okay, it shows the dragon holding a wand, right? Most times you see Ace of Wands, you see the symbolization of just a big giant club and a hand coming out of the clouds holding it. It means new beginnings, a fresh start, that kind of thing. And something that every time I tend to pull it, I get the message from my guides of it is whopping a few heads, whopping a few people upside the head with that big stick. As Teddy Roosevelt used to say, speak softly and carry a big stick. I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of people who are going to be against a new government and getting rid of the current government. And then I drew the, next up we got the Five of Swords. You know, that's, talks about crossed swords, although I don't see any swords crossed in the picture, so I'm not quite sure why they gave that definition. Unless it's just to simply mean that crossed swords usually, well, it depends. It can mean strength combined. It can also mean separation. You know, you're crossing your swords. You go your way, I go mine. And so I think maybe that's the message to go with this reading is a parting of ways. You go your way, we'll go ours. And it'll move from there one step at a time. And then the last card I got was Temperance. Now, Temperance, that's balance, neutrality, trying to prevent anything from being drastic or outrageous. Temperance is, you know, let's all take a seat at the table. Let's discuss everything. Let's find the balance, what works best for everybody. And I think in the end, that's where we're going to be, is with that Temperance card. It's going to be working it out. Anyway, okay, so that's what I got. It just seems like we're being told that, yeah, good times are coming. It's going to be rough until we get there, but once we do, it's going to make a huge difference. And I think that because of what other countries are having to do around us, because they can't trust us anymore right now, like I said before, it's going to take a lot of work to restore those friendships, those relationships with our allies. And I think we need to prepare ourselves for that. It's not going to, you know, that's part of what doomed Obama when he won his first election in 2008. everybody kind of like celebrated, went home, and then thought, okay, he's got it now. And they all expected him to like wave his magic wand and make every bad thing disappear overnight. And it doesn't work that way. And then when the first midterms came, what did they do? They turned around and gave him a very argumentative Congress to have to work with, which more or less kind of stopped him in his tracks. I mean, when it came to the health care, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, whatever name you want to give it, if he had gotten the health care that he wanted for all of us, we would have universal health care. That would mean you need to go to the doctor, you go to the doctor. It doesn't cost you any money. You need to get medicine, you go to the drugstore, you get your medicine. Because we all will pay into the, a tax, a small tax, and everybody pays in, and it covers everyone. I mean, there are other remarkable countries around the world who do this. There are several countries around the world who offer universal health care to their people that we pay for, but we can't have it. Make that make sense, right? So we've got some work coming up. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves and really get engaged and whatnot. We can't just sit on the sidelines and say, oh, okay, new president in, they'll take care of it. They're going to need us by their side. They're going to need us rolling up our sleeves and working to get it fixed. So that's what I got for you. Y'all have a great day. Oh, I did another interview with Evelyn from Life After Life, and she dropped the video today. I posted it on my community page. Y'all go take a watch, and actually I will be back on for another interview with her in December, just before Christmas. So that ought to be interesting. See what comes up and what happens between now and then. So today's Wednesday, right? Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. I'll see y'all at 6 o'clock Central for the Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. And I think we're on Marina's channel tonight. I think we're on Marina's channel tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So that's Heart Center Tarot. Anyway, go look on the community pages. You'll find it. And we'll talk again later. Bye for now.